Greetings, furry mammals. This is Luis Nasser from Sea of Tranquility in the Prague Seat. And I am answering the challenge set forth by George of discussing 10 songs that we still hear on the radio that we like, that we don't own, and also 10 songs that we hear on the radio that we hate, which obviously I don't own. So I'm going to start with the 10 that I like. And then I'm going to move on to the ones I hate because I know that's what people really like to hear is all the rants and the angry shit, right? So we're going to do it like that. So songs that I like, in no particular order, just 10 songs that I hear on the radio. This is going to be a little bit different. This is going to be the Mexico City edition. I mostly listened to the radio when I lived in Mexico. And then in the early 90s, and I moved to the States and I still listen to it a bit, but then nowadays, I never hear the radio except, things that are not music related. And even that is rare. So, because it is Mexico City, I'm going to make a disclaimer. This is for our Mexican listeners. There's a lot of stuff in the radio that is popular, that still played, that I've always hated, that I'm not going to discuss. Just want to lay it out there. I'm talking, of course, about a lot of Spanish and Mexican bands. Shit like Caifanes, Soda Stereo, Hombres G, Argentinian bands, Maná, El Tri, all this shit I'm not going to discuss. All right? If this triggers you, 0 fucks given. Now, so taking that aside, and of course, no Bookies, no Cheyenne, no Luis Miguel, no Jose Jose, none of that, just rock, okay? So, with that disclaimer and that clarification for our Mexican viewers, let's go ahead. So 10 songs that I like that I still played in the radio. Again, in no particular order, but I hear them mostly in Mexican radio. I go there about 3 or 4 times a year. So I spend a lot of time in Mexico, about half the year I'm there. So it's stuff that I know about. So number 1 would be Thunderstruck by AC/DC. I know it's been overplayed. I know some people might hate that, but you know what? That little pull-off flick is great. It's classic. I love it. I love that song, and they haven't ruined it for me. Another one that they still play they play when I was there, and they play it now, that I really like is "Staying Alive" by the Bee Gees. And look, I'm not going to sit here and defend the Bee Gees. I'm just going to say that particular song has got a dynamite bass line, and the first line of lyric wins me over as comedic genius. Well, you can tell by the way I use my walk, I'm a ladies' man, no time to talk. Come on, that's great. So I like that. Next up is a song by a musical genius called Michael Jackson. It's a song that has both Steve Lukather and Edward Van Halen playing guitar, produced by Quincy Jones. Beat it. If you don't like it, I'm sorry, but I love it. It's just a great song, a great lick, great everything. Next up, a man that people love to hate. I don't know why, because all he ever did for the longest time was play drums for one of the most incredible progressive rock bands of all time and one of the top fusion bands of all time. And then, defying all the odds, was somehow able to write all this hit after hit after hit after hit with both Genesis and his solo career. I'm talking, of course, about Phil Collins. Say what you will about the guy. His musicianship, you cannot shit on. Simple as that. And the song that I'm going to list is a song that I've never owned, and I never will, but if they play it on the radio, I will listen, which is "In the Air Tonight." "In the Air Tonight" is... Phil plays the Phil. And you all know what that means. That drum fill is legendary, not because of its complexity, but because of its delivery, of what it does. It's just innovative. It was of its time, and yet it somehow became timeless. And I just like the song in general. I like the build. It's just great. Next up, a song that used to be popular many years ago, and then it sort of disappeared, and then it came back thanks to that series, Stranger Things, which is kind of like an 80s revival. It's influenced by a lot of 80s horror movies and sci-fi. And I'm speaking, of course, of Running Up the Hill by Kate Bush with David Gilmour on guitar. I love that song. I never owned the album. There's a sadness and a longing to that pact with God. It just resonates with me. I think it's beautiful and I like it. And I love the fact that it sort of took a life of its own again. So that makes me happy. Next up, Africa by Toto. Oh, look, I'm not a Toto fan, but here's the deal. Those guys are all studio aces who just got tired of playing on other people's hits and making their hits in a way by writing all these kick-ass arrangements. And Steve Lukather and company said, "Oh, hey, let's just make our own band," and they did, and they delivered hits. So kudos to them. Africa is it's just one of those songs that has a timeless quality to it. You hear it once, and you never forget it. It has a depth to it that I enjoy. I like it. Next comes "Sweet Dreams" by the Eurythmics. That's still played on the radio in Mexico, and I love Annie Lennox. I think, and that particular song is very haunting. It's like a dark electro pop tune. There's a sinister quality to it that I really like. It's not clear to me if this is, it could just as well be your welcome message as you go down to hell. I love it. Up next is a deeper cut, but it's popular in Mexico, and it's the soundtrack to a great movie by William Friedkin called "To Live and Die in L.A." and that's the name of the song. It's by a band called Wang Chung that had other hits and other things. But this particular movie, I think, is a masterpiece, and the music fits it perfectly. It is of its time and era. It stars Willem Dafoe, and if you've never watched it, give it a try. And if you don't like it, well, let me hear about it. Okay, fine. I love that movie. I love that song, and I love that whole album. But the title track is it really it works. It's very good, and I like that. But I don't own it. Never owned it. Next comes "Men Without Hats," Down Under. I don't know what to tell you, man. The band is just fun. Whenever I hear that, I don't have the urge to leave the room, or cover my ears if I happen to be in an Uber. I just enjoy it. It's fun. It's great. I dig it. I dig it. And finally, I'm gonna go with the Foo Fighters, believe it or not. And I know all people my age love to hate grunge because it killed metal. Fuck you. Metal, candy ass metal, hairspray metal killed metal. Okay? It turned into a cartoon of itself. And then other people came and did other things that people preferred. It's like saying, "Oh, punk killed prog." No, it didn't. Prog killed prog. Stop it. Anyway, Foo Fighters. The song is Everlong. And again, I'm not going to sit here and defend the Foo Fighters to you. I'm not a big fan of the Foo Fighters. I don't own it. But that particular song, there's just something about it. It's in drop D tuning, I think. And the verse is just like this F sharp 5 over a D. And then it switches, I think, to a C or a G, and then it goes back into the pounding. And I don't know. Listen to it if you've never heard of it with this in mind. Imagine that the Dave Grohl is thinking of the guitar the way he thinks about the drums, where the lower strings is the kick drum and the lower stuff, and then the other three strings are the snare and the cymbals and all that. It may give you a new appreciation for the arrangement. It may do nothing for you. That's fine. But I dig the song. I dig that entire arrangement. I like it. I think that's a song that whenever they play it on the radio, I'm not upset. And now we've come to the hate. So these are songs that are played a lot on the radio that I hate. And this new one is like a blanket statement of hate for me. It's a song by an artist called Bad Bunny, and the song is called Titi me preguntó. Titi asked me. Let's just be clear about one thing. Every fucking song in reggaeton is the same song. They're all. That's all it is. Every single one of them. They're all the same fucking song. And therefore, I'm using this one as an example, but really it's just a blanket fuck you and fuck off to the entire genre of reggaeton. Okay, it's crap. It's not for me. I can only take so much of it before I have to leave, and if I can't leave, I will start to get angry. It's just that bad. So that one is there. Next up, we have Creep by Radiohead. Oh, look, Creep is a revered band, and rightly so. They have released lots of really good albums. They've done really good stuff. But for me, I just happened to have met Tom York around the time of that album in Mexico, and we had a really bad interaction. Let's just say he was just being an ugly British tourist, acting up, and I happened to catch it all, and I'm fluent in English, and we exchanged words, and I offered to rearrange his kneecaps, and he ran away, and that's for the best. But I had a beef with that guy that's gotten in the way of me liking his music. And even though I put that beef to rest, and I do enjoy Radiohead, I just really hate that song. And every time I hear it, I think of that moment, and I think of that little fucking guy, and get angry, I guess. Creep, not for me. Next up, I don't know. It's become like a sort of a stupid person joke, but it's "Never Gonna Give You Up" by Rick Astley. Don't Rickroll me. If that's what you're gonna do, just don't talk to me. Just skip me over. Okay. Next, U2. Still haven't found what I'm looking for. There's a lot of U2 songs I don't like, but that era around the Joshua Tree, I think, is where they really did sort of lose themselves, and they still haven't found it clearly. So it's just a lame song. It's the beginning of the whining era. It's just boring and lame and not for me. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. You know, it's just like a C, an F chord with an F with a G instead of an A, and then back to the C. Forget it. It's boring. Um, I'm Still Standing by Elton John. I really hate that song. And I think I hate it especially because at some point I played an Elton John tribute as a favor to my good friend Brian Harris, who was recorded in two separate Sono Sombra albums. And he was doing an Elton John tribute. And at some point, he added that song to the list. And it's just terrible. Just a terrible, terrible song. If you hear these metal sounds, by the way, this room is not haunted. It's just old and crappy. And the pipes of the heat here in Chicago, it's 12 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's cold. So there's nobody trapped under my desk. There's no GIMP. It's just the pipes. Okay. And it seems like the room started to groan as soon as I mentioned I'm still standing, which I guess is a way of saying this room is still barely standing. We'll see. Next up, Karma Chameleon, Culture Club. They still play that in Mexico on the radio. I don't know why. I hated it when it came out all those years ago. I hate it today. I hate everything about it. Not for me. Such a lame song. Such a poser band. Such crap. Next up, we have a band called the Arctic Monkeys, which I think should be called the Arctic Ass Monkeys. And it's a song called Do I Want to Know? And my unequivocal answer is no. I don't want to know. I don't want to hear it. Get fucked. I hate that song. I hate your lyrics. I hate everything about your band. You guys are crap. Just utter crap. It's that it has like that I want to be a bad boy in a boy band kind of vibe. Fuck right off. Not for me. Next up, number 8 would be Journey, Don't Stop Believing. Guys, I stopped believing decades ago. That song is terrible, and I can't stand hearing it. It just pisses me off. In fact, the fact they played that for the ending of The Sopranos is very fitting because everything about it was crap, including that song. So there is that. And last, because it is a Mexico edition, as I've explained in other episodes, the rock group Kiss enjoys a lot of popularity in Mexico, even to this day. Although they seem to be trapped like Bugs and Amber in the 70s era. It's like the Dynasty album, as I found out today for this broadcast. And there's 2 songs there that define my hatred for that band, like precisely, with microscopic precision. There is the song Charisma. I know, I'm looking at Pete and Eric and all the Yes apologists. 0 fucks given. Kiss is garbage. And that song is Exhibit A. But Exhibit B, and really the dagger through that writhing black heart that is Kiss, to me, is the other song from that album that is played relentlessly in the radio in Mexico, which is Made for Loving You. I'm not even sure if that's the title, but that's the chorus, right? It's like a disco song. And, that's the chorus. And I loathe it. I mean, I don't know the guys at Kiss. I have no reason to hate them. But just knowing that Paul Stanley sings that makes me want to punch him in the face. It just does. And maybe he's a really great guy. I have no reason to hate on the man, but no. Kiss my ass. Or in Mexico, we could just rearrange the words, and instead of saying kiss, we would say cheese. And in English, just trade the K for a P, same meaning. So those are the 10 songs that I still hear in Mexican radio that I hate. The other were the 10 that I love. I'm really curious. I want to read the comments. I want the Kiss apologists to come at me. Bring all you got. I have flame retardant underwear. I'll take all comers. I don't give a shit. And but I will have a fun conversation. I will keep it respectful. But yeah, you tell me what are the songs that you don't like, the ones that you like to hear on the radio that you don't own. And let's keep this thing going. We're here on Sea of Tranquility all together, all the damn time. Please subscribe. Pete has been working very, very hard for many years, and I am just very grateful to be a part of this. Be a part of this community is very special for me. And let's see what else we can come up with. But visit us on the web, www.seaoftranquility.org, and you can subscribe. Please subscribe. You can buy some merch. You can be one of the cool guys and have a Sea of Tranquility sweatshirt. Just help it out. It's really worth defending in this environment. So take care. Smooches, bitches, and I'll be seeing you around.